Hello and welcome to today's session. This is Vaani. Today we'll discuss about special univariate plots. So basically special univariate plots, they are an ideal way of checking the shape of your data step, and we do this using the stem and the leaf plot. So stem and leaf plot, they're basically a display that helps us to know what is the shape of the data and what is the distribution of data. So each value we are going to split it up into two things. One is called as a stem, the other one is called as a leaf. So if you see this diagram, you'll come to know, suppose I am trying to do a stem and leaf plot for English subject and these are the marks. So what I do is, let's say the marks 45 now is divided into stem 4 and leaf 5 as shown in the diagram. Okay, and the first column, this is actually the stem, the second column is actually the leaf. See, 45 marks is divided into stem 4 and leaf 5. 60 marks, you can observe that there are two students who have got marks as 60. So what we do is, the stem 6 now will have two leaves. The stem 6 will remain the same, but it will have two leaves, 0 0, because there are two students. And you have your 2 marks again, 80 and 85. So you will have only one stem for these 2 marks again, 8, and the leaf will be 2, 0 and 5 will be the two leaves. So this is how you actually plot the stem and leaf plot. Okay, so basically we are dividing the value into two things, that is stem and leaf. Now coming to the plots, okay, this is, we call it as a normal QK plot. We have the standard normal quantiles in the x-axis, and these are some samples we have taken. Okay, now one thing which I've already discussed in previous session also, the ideal shape of a data set should be bell-shaped curve, right? Bell-shaped curve, which we saw in the last class, which corresponds to ideality or normality, right, where we have less number of outliers, and most of the statistical tests are actually designed for the normal distribution of data. Now this is a QQ plot. Now what is a QQ plot? This is used to assess the shape of the data set. So using QQ plot, I can assess what is the shape of my data set. Basically this is just a two-dimensional scatter plot of the univariate data that you're seeing here, right? And we have discussed quartiles in one of the previous sessions. Suppose I have two data sets, the quartiles of first and second data sets. Let's say, let's discuss with an example. Suppose these are the marks we have got. Okay, 13, 11, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. So these are the marks, and this is plotted here. Okay, so this is marks 2, this is 3, this is again 8, this is 9, right, this is 11, which is plotted. So this is a scatter plot. These spots are plotted depending upon the marks. Now what you observe here is, then you try to find out which curve it is following, and it's more like a linear curve that I'm getting here, and all the points which are falling on this reference line, let's call this as for reference line, which is at a 45 degrees, right? All the points which are falling on this line, that means the data is following the normal distribution. And if there is any deviation, right, this plot is above the reference line, this plot is below the reference line, so it's a deviation from the normal distribution. So what we have to do is, basically using the scatter plot, I have plotted my data sets, right, and I am comparing how much I am able to achieve the normality. So if the points are falling on this reference line of 45 degrees, it's a normal distribution. Some points are outside, so these are the outliers. We call them, these things as the outliers, which are not really falling on the reference line. So that is what we have to do with our data sets. A careful analysis or statistical investigation of data set is very much important in the initial stages, so that we do get good performance, less overfitting or underfitting issues, less bias in our final performance measure. So that is why we have discussed about the statistical investigation of data sets even in the previous two sessions, like skewness, kurtosis, mean absolute deviation, MAD, coefficient of variation. All these parameters will help us in assessing our data set. Okay, so that's what in the last two sessions we have discussed how we can do statistical investigation of our data sets. We need to identify our outliers as much as possible, try to reduce the skewness, try to reduce the kurtosis. So a good data set, thereby we have a good data set which will give us a good performance in our project. So that was it. Today's session was a quick discussion about the special univariate plots, leaf plot, stem plot, and also we discussed about the importance of statistical analysis of data sets. So thank you so much. In the next session, we will be starting with the module 2, that is bivariate and multivariate data sets. Thank you so much.